Hello, and welcome back to 100 Essential Films You Gotta Check Out. This week we are going over one that I watched a few years ago and just rewatched within the last week and a half that I'm not sure I feel about it the same way this time watching it as I did the first time, and it's only been maybe 2 years since my last viewing of it, and that is the 1967 American romantic comedy drama based off the 1963 novel of the same name, The Graduate. This movie stars Anne Bancroft as Miss Robinson, Dustin Hoffman as Benjamin Braddock, Catherine Ross as Elaine Robinson, and my absolute favorite to see in this film, William Daniels, Mr. Feeney as Mr. Braddock. So this film picks up right after Benjamin has graduated college and earned his bachelor's degree. But he doesn't really know what he's doing with his life. He is at a crossroads with no idea where he's going or what he's doing next. His family throws a graduation party for him and invites all of their friends that have watched Benjamin grow up his entire life. And Benjamin does not want to be there at all, so he keeps trying to go and hide in his room. I have a feeling there's a lot of us that understand where Benjamin's coming from here. When he is approached by the wife of his father's business partner, Miss Robinson. And I think this is where I start feeling differently than I did the first time that I watched it. Dustin Hoffman's acting in this really shows how awkward Benjamin is, but almost to the sense where it's too awkward. And we'll see it a lot throughout the rest of this movie, where he's so awkward, it reminds me of his character in Rain Man, which I'd love to see the universe where Rain Man is a continuation of the Graduate story. Although that might not be politically correct, so I don't think we'll ever see that version. Miss Robinson tells Benjamin that she needs a ride home because her husband is out and won't be back till later. And Ben fumbles around with trying to find an answer and finally gets bullied into giving Miss Robinson a ride home. And you can see a lot of psychological manipulation from Miss Robinson on this point, that even though Benjamin is 21 in this film, he doesn't really act like he's 21. And watching this movie now, with everything that has been going on the last couple of years, with things being brought to light, it's almost more uncomfortable than enjoyable to see the interactions between Miss Robinson and Benjamin. And that's before things go south. Once they get back to the house, she almost demands that Benjamin walk her to the door. And then when he gets to the door, she bullies him into going in and making sure it's safe because it's a dark house and she's alone. Then she strong-arms him into staying until her husband gets home, and I keep trying to find different ways to say she makes him do something he wasn't comfortable with, and I'm starting to run out of phrases. She lures him upstairs, where she begins to make it obvious that she's trying to lure him into a trap, but when he calls her out on it, she gaslights him. Oh my God, that's exactly what it is. She gaslights him, and then he's apologizing that he would even say such a thing and hope that she can forgive him and forget that ever happened. And then she totally strips in front of him, proving to us and hopefully proving to him that he was right the whole time. And it's right about at this moment where things are incredibly awkward, we hear Mr. Robinson pulling up to the house. So Benjamin runs downstairs, and as awkward and scared and as terrible as he feels and just wants to get out of there, then Mr. Robinson is convincing him to stay and have a drink before he leaves, and they can chat, and it's just super, super awkward for Benjamin, and you kind of feel really bad for him. At one point, Miss Robinson says to Benjamin, "If you ever need me, the offer will still stand. Just hit me up." and Benjamin hightails it out of there. But within the next few days, give or take, he decides to take her up on that offer and invites her out. Now, I guess, and this is going to be iffy, and I'm not sure if I'm going to word this right, so please cut me some slack. And I guess being that it's been a couple of days, and he's made the call to initiate this rendezvous, maybe it's not as creepy as it would have been had he given in the first night. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. After their first night together, you can see a clearly more confident Benjamin in the next couple of scenes, where he still doesn't know what he's doing in the future, but he knows what he's doing right now, and that kind of mellows him out a lot more. We get the impression that this means a little bit more for Benjamin than it does for Miss Robinson. She is really cold to him. He tries to strike up a conversation, and she shoots him down. And he jokingly makes a comment about having to ask out her daughter to get the information about her, and she kind of loses her mind. She makes him swear that he'll never date her daughter and that she is completely forbidden and off limits. However, we have heard a couple of lines before, and we'll hear a couple of more, about both fathers trying to get the kids together. Benjamin makes an executive decision and asks out Elaine before there is a double family, double dinner date kind of thing, triple date. Super awkward. And of course, Miss Robinson flips her lid. And I think this is about where in the movie I develop a really big issue with it. And I'm sure you've heard me talk about this in movies before. If not, and this is your first time watching one of these videos, I'll do a quick recap for you. I hate when in a movie a relationship or romantic involvement is force-fed to us in a super streamlined way. And in The Graduate, within the first 24 hours of Benjamin and Elaine going out, Benjamin is in love with her. Even for being 1967, I really hope that people back then weren't rushing into relationships and marriages as quickly as they're represented in movies. Then again, I guess that might explain why so many of us are messed up when it comes to relationships. Just throwing that out there, food for thought. Now, I don't want to spoil the ending in case by any chance there are some of you out there that haven't seen it, but from this moment forward in the film, it is quite the roller coaster of who's exposing what secrets, who's lying about what happened, who's finding out different stories and making their judgments based on it. It really gets out of hand. If you've already seen the movie, I'd love to know your thoughts down below, especially on the iconic ending scene. If you haven't seen this movie and if this has piqued your interest at all, go check it out and then let me know below what you guys thought. Because I'm very curious to hear different perspectives on this. Now, before we get to the scratching, I want to say a very special thank you to everybody that has watched this, and a huge I love you thank you to my Patreon subscribers, whose names are going to pop up at the end of this video. I do want to apologize. Patreon has been giving me a little bit of an issue where it says I had lost and then gained some of the followers. I think it just didn't run anything through. So I'm going to have the updated Patreon card up here at the end of this video instead of the edited one, which apparently I guess was not true. I do apologize. If your name was left off of the last Patreon card and it shouldn't have been, I do apologize. It was nothing personal. It was Skynet messing with me. So I hope you guys are still enjoying and following. Make sure you hit those buttons down below, especially if you're new to the channel. It really does mean a lot. We're trying to get those numbers up so that I can afford a backdrop for you and get rid of this ugly couch. That's my plan. So with that being said, let's get to the scratching of The Graduate. Here's the scratching off of 1967, The Graduate. Wonder if this is going to be the bus scene or maybe the wedding chapel. That's the wedding chapel. Referenced in Wayne's World 2, if I am not mistaken. Like I would be mistaken about movies. I'm pretty sure that's Castle. There's laughing behind the scenes. All right, I think there we go. That is the Godfather. That is The Graduate. That is The Godfather. Bojack. Stop it. So that was the scratching off of The Graduate with a little sass from my behind-the-scenes camera woman today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this recap. I'm very, very curious to hear what your thoughts are about this movie, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on how the whole situation went down. If you have a comparison of a few years ago versus more recent social climate, I'm very curious as to how that plays out. Thank you all for watching this. It means a lot. I love hearing from you. Big I love you, thank you to everybody, and keep an eye out for the Patreon subscribers whose names are going to pop up, hopefully all of them, at the end of this video. That's it for now, and I will see you next Tuesday. Later days.